Hello, and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga. It's Matchday 32. We already have, of course, a new champion in Bayern Leverkusen this season. And Matchday 31 told us also who's the first team to get relegated, and that predictably is Darmstadt after they lost to Heidenheim. To help us analyze and to share with us his best tips, we have Ronan Murphy. How are you, Ronan?
I'm very good. How are you, Leo?
All good, Ronan. Great to see you. Before we get going with the show, guys, priority number one, as always, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell. And priority number two, I would say, do not leave before the end of the show, because before Ronan give us and share with us his safe bet and ACCA, we're gonna talk a little bit about our monthly tipster competition. But now, let's go with the show. Okay, Ronan, we open Matchday 32 on Friday night, Friday evening, with Hoffenheim against Leipzig. A weekend to forget for Hoffenheim. They lost 3-2 away to Bochum, a Bochum side who they were winless in 8 fixtures before Matchday 31. I don't know, Ronan, if is that because Matarazzo's team are not fighting for European places, neither for relegation. So this creates maybe this feeling of that the season is over before the season is actually over. The sixth spot is 6 points above them with 9 points to play, and with two other teams on top of them. So that it looks like a little bit difficult to believe on European places for them. Leipzig, the situation is completely the opposite. Great comeback win against Dortmund with Openda shining and with the team getting almost or very close to securing a Champions League spot. If I think in Leipzig, Ronan, I think always in goals market. Is that the way to go against Hoffenheim?
Yeah, I think it is. I think Leipzig obviously are a team on a mission at the moment. They want to finish the season strongly, and like you said, Hoffenheim, they seem to be on the beach already. They seem to be looking ahead to next season maybe. So that result last week was a disappointing one. And RB Leipzig, on the other hand, they seem to be going kind of from strength to strength. They're now clear in fourth of Borussia Dortmund. They're 5 points clear of Borussia Dortmund, and they even have an eye on maybe finishing third in the season in the league at the end of the season. They're only 2 points behind Stuttgart. So with Stuttgart's fixture this weekend, you wouldn't be surprised if they were able to close that gap. And RB Leipzig, for them, it's important for them to be seen as a team in the top that can challenge Bayern Munich at the top of the Bundesliga table, because they need to be able to attract all these younger players to RB Leipzig to get them to come to Leipzig and continue that conveyor belt of talent that they usually have. So we've seen that this season. They have Benjamin Šeško and Losa Penda are they both scored 2 goals each in the last 4 games. They're the first duo to do that for one club since 2015, and both of them are kind of relatively new players to the Bundesliga. This is what Leipzig do. And Openda's season, 24 goals so far this season. It's the third best debut season in Bundesliga history, and the only 2 better are Harry Kane this season and 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐳𝐿er back in the very first Bundesliga season back in 1963-64. So these are players that can go on to be superstars. But Leipzig also have kind of an idea themselves that maybe they've seen Bayer Leverkusen do it this season to stop Bayern Munich winning the league. So maybe Bayer Leverkusen could pave the way for an RB Leipzig championship in the next few years. So they have to be looking ahead to that. And if they can kind of be seen as the third best team in Germany, they might be able to attract more players to the club. So I think they'll be going all out to win here. The most common result in this match is 3-1 to Leipzig, and it was 3-1 to Leipzig earlier this season. RB Leipzig as well, they won this match, this exact fixture in Sinsheim, 3-1 last season, as well as 1-0 Leipzig. So correct score 3-1 to Hoffenheim is 11, could be an option for this one. Like you said, this seems to be one that where the goal market seems to be the way to look at. So Hoffenheim have been both teams to score yes in all of their last 5 games, and they haven't had a game with fewer than 3 goals in 9 games. So this seems to be one that Hoffenheim like scoring and conceding, and RB Leipzig's last 4 games have all had 3 or more goals too. So that's why for this one I'm like looking at over 3.75 goals as the tip.
Yeah, and I like what you mentioned that maybe the biggest takeaway for Leipzig as well this season should be that okay, if Bayer Leverkusen managed to do it, why not? Why we cannot dream with that? Yes, the gold market is all there for to make maybe some good returns. Yet not much value on a Leipzig win, but that combined with goals over Leipzig to win, combined with goals over 3, takes odds closer to 2. Also, Ronan, and. Then we have next in line is Borussia Dortmund against Augsburg. Of course, Ronan, tomorrow is the day for Dortmund playing with the PSG in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final. So something maybe to have in mind when thinking about Matchday 32 at Iduna Park, or you will let me know your thoughts. Yes, we just said the 4-1 defeat for Dortmund against Leipzig on the weekend. They know anyway that they cannot finish lower than fifth this season, which is likely, as the things stand, to secure them anyway a Champions League spot for next season. Taking this into account, adding that the return leg is next week, would you think of a relaxation that may be open the opportunity for Augsburg for smash and grab winning away, despite them being in an awful last week and losing 3-0 at home with Bremen? Or for you, it doesn't matter the context of the match, and Dortmund uh, should show in the field the gap between those two sides.
Yeah, I think these are two really inconsistent teams. So it could be the case that Augsburg could get a smash and grab win, but I think history is on Dortmund's side here. Augsburg haven't won in Dortmund since 2015, so you have to go back a long time. And in those 9 years since, we've seen some very inconsistent Dortmund teams, and Augsburg still haven't been able to beat them. So even with this Dortmund team that looked great in Europe and not so great in the Champions
Yeah.
League, they still should have enough about them to win this game. And I know, like you said, that they are kind of looking to see how well they can finish in the league, because 6 doesn't seem like it's going to happen because they're 12 points clear of Frankfurt. So that's gone after this weekend. They'll be guaranteed a top 5 finish. And obviously, the best way to win to qualify for the Champions League next season is to win this year's Champions League. But I think they will still be hopeful that they can maybe get top 4 or finish the season strongly, because they don't want to have a disappointing end to the Bundesliga campaign. So I think 𝐸𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐿 will be looking at both fixtures, especially because the Champions League is so difficult to win, and it's going to be hard to maybe overturn PSG and get past PSG with the players that they have. So I think Dortmund will be looking at this. You won't see full rotation, but you'll probably see a few players rested. Daniel Malen, he might be given time in this one because he's kind of a late fitness doubt for the PSG match, so we might get to see a bit more of him to prove his fitness in this one, and he could be an option as maybe a goal scorer option to anytime goal scorer if he does start. It could be a different one. Augsburg are they're missing one of their main players in defensive midfielder Christian Jakic. He's out after 5 yellow cards, and he could be an absent in midfield, and it could allow Dortmund's midfield to maybe control the game a bit better, because sometimes they do struggle there, and it'll allow them to dominate possession and dictate the kind of tempo of the game. So we should be able to see Dortmund Terzic kind of get his match plan in place for this match, even if he doesn't play the strongest 11. The most common result here is a 1-1, with 2 of the last 4 games being 1-1s, but both of those matches were in Augsburg. Dortmund tend to do better at home against Augsburg. Obviously, won the last 5 home games against Augsburg, and both teams to score yes has happened in all of those, with at least 3 goals in every game. So this should be a high-scoring one. So Dortmund, both teams to score yes has happened in all 5 of their last games in all competitions too. So both teams to score yes could be an option here. I like to look at that at 1.4. But overall, I'm just going for Dortmund to win for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. They're like it's a very decent
last
return.
week.
That 1.8 for the Borussia Dortmund to win. Even if someone could think of Augsburg trying to show some fighting spirit, maybe against a weakened side of Dortmund, a draw for the first half. I wouldn't say for the full time. I absolutely back that Borussia Dortmund to win, but draw for the first half. It has also 2.88. Also, and Ronan, sorry, I don't want to deviate you too much, but just one quick question: is there any talk in Germany or of like the league giving teams competing in Europe like a free weekend, like they do in the Liga? Are Bayern or Dortmund complaining about this stuff, or there's not much talk about Leverkusen as well, of course?
No, you don't see it because of the lack of Monday fixtures or midweek fixtures in Germany means that you don't have the same sort of level of games, and you have a fewer games in the season,
All right.
and as well as that, the teams who play on Thursday night matches in Europe always gets to play on Sunday, and the teams who play on Tuesday and Wednesday get to play in the early 2:30 kickoffs in Germany, so or the 3:30 local time. So yeah, they're already kind of being facilitated as well as they can. So I think fans and teams are happy enough with the way it is at the moment.
All right, perfect. So then we move on to the next one, which is a Stuttgart against Bayern Munich. It has quite a morbid feeling to watch Leverkusen lately in the final minutes of a match to see if they're going to lose or not. I guess Stuttgart thought that was going to happen against them, but in the end, the inevitable also happened, which is Leverkusen scoring and making it 2-2 with Stuttgart. Is what is inevitable anyway, Ronan, as well, is that they are going to play Champions League football. I mean, Stuttgart, and that is a great achievement for them. Talking about achievements, Girassi with 25 goals, Umda with 18, and Furich with 8. I was reading that they are now officially the most prolific scoring trio in the Stuttgart history. Stuttgart at home, Ronan, defeated Dortmund and Leipzig and drew with Leverkusen. Can they finish without losing against the top five sides at home? Or with with Bayern as well, thinking about the trip to the Bernabeu next week, maybe the gap is open there for them to take the 3 points against them. Can you see it, or not really?
Yeah, this is one where I think rotation could have a bigger impact than in the Borussia Dortmund one, because Bayern Munich's first 11 is just so strong, but maybe they don't have the same depth. There's not the same kind of level of consistency like Dortmund's starting 11 versus their subs. There's not a huge drop off in quality. All these players are sort of a similar level. There's none of them world class, and then there's none of them awful. But in Bayern, once you take off some of the world class players, the players to step up maybe aren't of a similar quality. So you do see maybe more of a drop off when Bayern Munich do rotate. So I think this could be a chance for Stuttgart to get something here, because we've seen Bayern are definitely looking towards the Champions League. They named their second oldest starting 11 ever in Bundesliga history last weekend against Frankfurt. So it wouldn't be surprised if they did something similar in this one and rotated plenty of games. So Thomas Muller as an anytime goal scorer, have a look at that one. That could be an option, obviously, because he is one of those ones who brings the age up, and he's unlikely to start in the Champions League, obviously. So Harry Kane, he's up to 400 career goals after his tally
Oh,
last
yes.
weekend. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's rested. He has 35 league goals, so to get it in the next few weeks to break Lewandowski's record, he'd need at least 2 hat-tricks. So I don't think that's going to happen. So you wouldn't be surprised if he's rested, and maybe Matthias Tell gets a run out or something up front. And Bayern have tricky fixtures coming up as well. So
Yeah.
they have Stuttgart, Wolfsburg, and Hoffenheim to finish the season. So there's no one that you would think, oh, Bayern are playing Darmstadt or Harry Kane could get 5 goals there. It's not the case. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is rested or taken off early. So those kind of things should play into Stuttgart's hands, because Stuttgart are, like you said, their attack is so good at the moment with Undav and Girassi, who had already become the best duo in Stuttgart history, but now they have the best trio in Stuttgart history too. So yeah, they just keep seeming to set lots of records. The
Yeah.
Stuttgart team for goals, especially, they've only won one of the last 10 meetings with Bayern, 0 of the last 9 meetings with Bayern. So this isn't a good place for Stuttgart to go. The most common result here is 2-0 to Bayern. Yeah, so and the most common result in Stuttgart is 2-0 for Bayern as well. So Bayern, I think they've turned things around a bit in recent weeks. There are 3 wins in a row after 2 losses in the Bundesliga. Stuttgart, they drew 2-2, obviously, like you said, that comeback against Leverkusen, that's kind of got to be a little disappointing. That you
Oh
think you're
yeah.
going to beat the streak, and then it doesn't happen. So it was after they lost 2-1 to Bremen the previous week. So I think there should be goals in this match. Obviously, total goals over 3.25. It looks good at 1.89. I think it could be an option, but I like the look of a draw overall here. If you're willing to go half time, full time, home draw is 16. That could be an option too. But I like the look of a draw overall in this one, because I think Bayern will definitely have a lot of their attention going on the Champions League.
Yeah, it's not always or not every weekend when you see Bayern Munich not being the favorite for the bookies on a Bundesliga match day. So that was Stuttgart and Bayern Munich, and that nice tip of a draw with odds over 4. Next one, Ronan, is Werder Bremen, Borussia Mönchengladbach. Great win for Bremen. We mentioned before, away to Augsburg, which makes 2 wins in a row for them. When you look at their season at home, I have the feeling that they like reflects their season in general terms, because not particularly good, but not particularly bad either. Gladbach won only 1 in the last 8 fixtures. Last weekend, a 0-0 with Union Berlin. I'm not saying that their situation is critical, not at all, but they still have to keep looking down. They are 4 points above the relegation playoff. After of what I've seen last weekend, I'm not saying that I'm falling in love with the odds on Bremen to win, but what's your take here?
Yeah, you just don't want to say it. You are falling in love with the odds on Bremen to win. Because Gladbach, they just didn't look like they could score in that match against Union Berlin. They created 1.21 xG in that match, and they just didn't look like they were going to score at all. And they don't look like a team who know what they're doing, despite the fact that they've confirmed that their head coach is staying around for next season. It seems to be a crazy decision, because, like you said, they still could be pulled into that relegation battle. They probably won't, obviously, but because the teams below them won't win enough matches to stay up. But yeah, I think this Gladbach team, they look kind of lost at the moment. They're 3 games without a win, so that really kind of gives you hope that Bremen can win this one. The most common result in Bremen is 2-0 win for Bremen, and Gladbach haven't won there since 2021. Bremen won 5-1 actually in this match last season, so it was a big one. And Bremen are coming into this match full of confidence. They're back wins over Stuttgart and Augsburg, and created 2.53 xG against Augsburg last week, and they scored 3 goals in the process. So I think Bremen are probably looking at this one as one where they can pick up 3 points and maybe even get themselves into the running for a European spot, because they're only 3 points behind 7th at the moment. And as we know, with the Bundesliga probably getting an extra place in the Champions League, Bayer Leverkusen probably winning the cup, there will be extra places apart from the ones that are already set up at the moment. So it is a good chance for a team like Bremen maybe to sneak into into a European spot, maybe get into the Conference League, a bit like back in the day when teams used to get into the Intertoto Cup. This could be their back door into Europe too. So I think Bremen will be going all out to win this one, and Gladbach don't have a lot to play for. So a Bremen win looks good at that value, I think.
And also quite decent odds, Werder Bremen to score first in this game, which as well, like you, I back in them 1.85 for Werder Bremen to score first against Borussia Mönchengladbach. The next one is Wolfsburg against Darmstadt. Officially the first team relegated this season from the Bundesliga. Maybe they have felt that Cologne equalizer against the Mainz was giving them a lifeline to dream, but in the end, Dovedan scoring in the 90th minute finished with any survival hopes for Darmstadt. Anyway, it didn't happen on Matchday 31. It was written a long time ago. The relegation for Darmstadt, a team that have only managed 4 points at home, is very difficult for them to survive like that. Even the start of the campaign, if I don't remember wrong, Ronan, it was like 40 defeats in the first 5 games for them. So it's been always very, very difficult season for them. On the other side, Wolfsburg left it late for a comeback win against Freiburg, with goals in the last 10 minutes of the game. Where do you find the value in this fixture with the home win paying so little.
Yeah, I think it's hard to look past anything other than a home win happening in this one because Darmstadt, like you said, since the start of the season, they didn't look up to the quality of the Bundesliga. This
Yeah.
relegation was a long time coming, and it wasn't official until last week, but it felt like it was happening for a long time, and you kind of saw that even with the way the team came out after the game. The club president Rudiger Fritsch came out and said it's like having your 102-year-old grandma. She's about to pass away, but you know it's going to happen, but it's still sad anyway. So yeah, Darmstadt are the 102-year-old grandma that needed to be put out of their misery in the Bundesliga, and it's finally happened. So Wolfsburg, they'll likely be confirmed to be safe and have another season in the Bundesliga this week because they're 6 points clear at the moment. They should pick up more points here, obviously. Yeah, a win would guarantee them safety, so they will be looking obviously to win this one. They scored twice last week, and that should give them some sort of cause for optimism. I know it was against 10 men late on, but the fact they were able to come back even against 10 men and they were able to pick up the win, it should kind of give them confidence maybe that this new kind of coaching change under Hasselhoff has kind of will change things and will work for them, and it is something they can build on going into the end of the season and look towards next season. So I like the look of obviously a low scoring match here, I think, because it was 1-0 to Wolfsburg earlier this season. Darmstadt don't really score. Wolfsburg have struggled to score in a lot of games, so against 11 men and 11 men at Darmstadt, it could be a bit trickier. Total goals under 2.75 could be an option in this one. That's 2.21. I think that looks good. But for this one, like you said, you can't really bet on Wolfsburg to win. So that's why I'm going for home in this one. I think they'll score and maybe hold on to win then.
Good odds then for halftime home and full-time home on Wolfsburg against Darmstadt. The next one is interesting one. It's Cologne against Freiburg. Ronan, I don't know if when 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐻𝐿 scored the penalty in the 95th minute to give Cologne the draw against Mainz, I don't know if the fans from Cologne were like celebrating or thinking about how can we lost on Matchday 30 against Darmstadt, because in the end it's so damaging for them, those 3 points. They're like second from bottom, 5 points behind Mainz in the relegation playoff, with one win in the last 11 games for them. For Freiburg, it wasn't, as we mentioned, with the Wolfsburg win against them, a great weekend. They are like still 5 points behind the Conference League spot. Odds for Freiburg to win here, Ronan, they look fantastic. Or do you think that this Cologne, taking into account what happened last weekend, scoring in the 95th minute, is going to give them some fighting spirit to take against Freiburg?
Yeah, I think those odds do look fantastic. I can't disagree with you there. And Cologne, it is all fight at the moment, but it's to little avail. They're not really doing much with that fight. And like you said, they're 5 points behind the playoff, but they're 7 points behind safety altogether. So it's not really going to happen for them. I think it's kind of an impossible task for them to get out of that 17th position at the moment. So we will be seeing Cologne in the second division next season. I think there's no kind of getting around that at the moment. Even if they were to win here, I don't think they can kind of catch up what they need to. It's kind of too late for them to show that fight. So Freiburg, on the other hand, they do have something to play for. They're in seventh. They're unlikely to catch Frankfurt, like you said, because they're 5 points behind them.
Yeah.
So, but like I said earlier, with the extra place for the Champions League or the extra spot with the cup, 7 should be enough. So they should be to get into Europe. So they will be looking at the teams below them and what they need to do, kind of to stay above them. Augsburg and Hoffenheim both are on 39 points, so they need to keep kind of just above those two teams to stay in seventh. So as long as they can pick up points, and they should be looking to pick up points against Cologne, because Cologne are a poor team and Freiburg are a much better team. Freiburg, as we know from them in the past, they like to defend well. They are usually a solidly defensive team, a reliable team, so they should be able to keep the score down and stop Cologne from scoring too many goals, because Cologne don't really score goals anyway. So the most common result is a 1-0 to Freiburg, and Freiburg have won all the last 3 games between the two sides without Cologne scoring in any of those games. So I like to tip here of not only Freiburg winning, which looks good, like you
Yeah.
said, but Freiburg to win to nil, I think it could be an option for them.
Okay, very, very healthy, very nice one. Very good return there on a 4.33 for Freiburg to win 2-0. The one that comes next, Ronan, I don't know. Of course, in terms of the relegation battle, is one of the most important matches this weekend. Union Berlin, 2 points above relegation playoff with 30 points, receiving the visit of Bochum, who is also 2 points above relegation playoff, although with a worse goal difference than the team from the capital. Bochum absolutely boosted their survival hopes, Ronan, with that 3-2 win against Hoffenheim. They said goodbye to a run of 8 games without getting 3 points. For Berlin, that 0-0 against Gladbach, at least it helped to cut the run of 3 consecutive defeats. The reverse fixture back in December was a 3-0 for Bochum. Can Union Berlin do something similar this time? But anyway, I guess with the 1-0, they will be very, very happy anyway.
Yeah, I think a 1-0 is probably more likely than a 3-0 here.
Yeah.
These aren't teams that score a lot of goals. Average goals for Union Berlin is 0.8, and the average goals for Bochum is 1.2. So neither of them are teams that score 3 goals a lot of times. So this is definitely the biggest game of the season for both teams. I think Bochum will miss out because their captain, Anthony Lascilla, is suspended for the second time this season. He's picked up 10 yellow cards now. So if you're looking into the cards or bookings market, maybe look at him as ruining some of it. So you're going all under the amount of cards or under the amount of fouls. Or if you're looking at any of those markets, because he's usually a card magnet, and that's why he misses out here. And that should help Union Berlin, the fact that Bochum are missing their captain. Bochum on the road, they have been very poor. They haven't won an away game since November, and that was against Darmstadt. So it will be tricky for them to get anything from here. Union, on the other hand, they have 2 home defeats in a row, which doesn't look good for them. But when you look at the opponents, it's Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen. So you would expect them to lose. You would expect them to lose the both games. So you shouldn't really factor that into account too much. Both teams to score no as an option here could be good. That's coming in at 2, and total goals under 2.5 is another option. I like the look of 1.85 because these aren't teams that score goals. But I like the fact that Union Berlin is just to win this one is just around 2. I think they could win a very low scoring game, maybe a 1-0 or something. But yeah, I think Union Berlin should win here, especially with Bochum missing one of the biggest players, most important players.
Yes, they're Union Berlin, the favorite against Bochum, and Union Berlin to win and also to score first will take the odds a little bit higher to almost 3. Then, Ronan, we have the one before the last, which is Eintracht Frankfurt against Bayer Leverkusen. The 7th time this season that they saved their unbeaten run, Leverkusen, in added time. Now the hero this time was Andrich, we mentioned before, in the 97th minute. I don't know if they do it in purpose, Ronan, this of leaving things late. It's just incredible, 21 goals scored after the 86th minute. I have to read it because it's just, I can't get over those numbers. It's amazing. And the way they celebrated on Saturday shows that after the historic title, they really want to get or to finish the season unbeaten. They are now on 46 games unbeaten run. We're gonna have to see what's happened on Thursday against Roma in the Europa League semi-final first leg. We will need to wait and see there. But could be Eintracht finally, maybe in the Bundesliga, the one that cuts the sweetness for Leverkusen.
Well, I thought it might be Dortmund a couple of weeks ago. The same thing happened to them with the last kick of the goal, so the last kick of the ball. Yeah. So I don't think I'm going to make those sort of claims anymore because it seems impossible for Leverkusen to lose this season. Yeah, like people are saying, it is Xabi time and not Fergie time anymore. So yeah, Lucas Hradecki came out after the game, and the goalkeeper and captain, he said. He said on the comebacks it's 50-50 between quality and luck. So yeah, so hopefully their luck continues and their quality continues, so they can keep getting these late goals. And Frankfurt, I think they are a good side for Leverkusen to be playing in between these Roma matches, because Frankfurt, they don't really have too much to play for themselves, because they're more or less guaranteed sixth position at the moment. They're 12 points behind Dortmund, 5 ahead of Freiburg, so they will kind of end up sixth, you would imagine. They probably only need a point or two to guarantee that, so losing to Leverkusen isn't going to have any impact whatsoever on their season if it does happen. Whereas Leverkusen, they have this invincible season to play for, like you said. That is their aim, because they're 3 league games away from the unbeaten league season. They can get to 90 points overall if they win 3 games. That, unfortunately, will be one fewer than 2012 to 2013 Bayern Munich. So they won't be able to set any records for points or anything like that. But that Bayern Munich team did lose once, and the Bayern Munich team that had the previous record in 1986-87, they also lost once. So there's no team that has ever won the Bundesliga unbeaten. They will be able to put themselves ahead of these Bayern Munich teams, that like the iconic Pep Guardiola, or that Bayern team from the 80s that had Lothar Matthäus and Andi Brehme in the team. So these are kind of huge teams in German history. So Leverkusen are 3 games away from greatness in the Bundesliga. So it would be amazing if they were able to hold on here. Most common result in this one is 2-1 and 2-1 in Frankfurt, but I'm not sure it's going to happen again, because this is obviously a very different Bayer Leverkusen than we've seen in previous years. They are Leverkusen no more, obviously. The last meeting in Frankfurt was in October 2022, and that was 2 games after Xabi Alonso took charge, and Frankfurt won 5-1. So I think Xabi Alonso will be looking to make huge revenge in this one. He won't be sitting on the sideline, because he's suspended after 4 yellow cards. He got booked in the same minute as Sepp Hoeneß in that game against Stuttgart last week, but he claims he didn't do anything wrong, that he doesn't understand why he was booked. So I think Xabi Alonso will be looking kind of for revenge. He will remember that 5-1, and he will be looking at winning this one. But if you think that the miracle is going to happen the same week, the same time way as the last 2 weeks, a home at halftime and draw at full time is 15 if you want to go for that one. But yeah, I'm just going for Leverkusen minus a quarter Asian handicap.
Yeah, Marco Poli is doing actually a good point on the comments, because at the end of the day, to remain unbeaten, a draw is enough. You don't need to win all the games to remain unbeaten. So maybe playing not to lose might become a draw for them again. That is, we see in there 3.69 in case of another draw for Leverkusen. The last one, Ronan Matchday 32 is Heidenheim at home with Mainz. We know that Mainz have been in survival mode lately, winning 3 and drawing 3 of the last 6 Bundesliga matches they have played. But for a team that is in relegation playoff and haven't won a single match away from home this season, to be favorites for the bookies, it's a little bit strange, at least for me, Ronan. This said, Mainz could have gone out of relegation playoff zone if they would have led for a few more minutes against Cologne, who equalized very, very late in the game. A very heated as well end of the match. Mainz and Mbeumo seeing a red card. Heidenheim winning against Darmstadt, and that is 2 wins in the last 5 for them. Do you see Mainz favorite here?
I don't, actually, to be honest. I think especially with like Mbeumo, you said is suspended, but they have Nadim Amiri and Brajan Gruda are all suspended, so they're missing a few key players there. And Heidenheim earlier in the season, they were able to win 1-0 in Mainz. That's the only recent meeting in forever, kind of, because these teams haven't been in the same divisions. But yeah, Heidenheim, they're actually have something to play for. Like I said, with the expanded European places, the places being handed out further down the table. Heidenheim are actually only now 2 points behind the 8th position. It's something they flagged up that they could end up being in the race for Europe, and I think they kind of are. They're 3 points behind 7th as well, so it is hugely possible that they could get into Europe if they were able to win the games between here and the end of the season. So if they were able to win this match, it will be huge for Heidenheim's season, especially for a team who've just come up from the second division. Heidenheim as well, this season they've been better in front of goal. They've averaged 1.4 goals per game, whereas Mainz are only averaging 1 goal a game. Total goals under 2.75 could be an option in this one. I like the look of 1.92. Mainz, like you said, they've they're not that great on the road. They've lost 4 of 6 away games in 2024. So I like the look of Heidenheim Agent handicap 0 as the overall tip for this one.
All right, perfect, guys. So that is everything you need to know about Matchday 32 in the Bundesliga. Amazing analysis and tips. Ronan, thanks a lot for that. Before we move into the safe bet and ACCA, for all of you watching, please do not forget to join our monthly tipster competition. 2 very important things. We can join for free on our website, and you can win €1,000 on prize pool. For all of you who have already joined the tipster competition, let me tell you that we have taken notice of your feedback and we have tweaked the rules for our tipster community. With these changes coming into effect from the 1st of May, it will take less than a minute to read them, so please do so. Ronan, safe bet first.
Yeah, my safe bet. It's hard to bet on either Bayern or Stuttgart to win that game, but it's easy to bet on both teams scoring. So my safe bet is Stuttgart versus Bayern, both teams to score.
And what's your ACCA?
My ACCA is a double this week, but I'm going for 2 high teams that should win. I see Leverkusen win and Heidenheim win. So, or Heidenheim Asian handicap 0. So Leverkusen win and Heidenheim Asian handicap 0 for 5.52.
Amazing. Ronan, thanks a lot. And for you guys, always do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell. Okay? Bye-bye, guys. Thank you very much.